Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to episode 17 of the Livfiit Listens. Today we're talking all about morning routines, which I'm stoked about because I kind of have a weird, we'll get into it, but I have a weird, I want to say tick. Is that the right word for morning routines? I love me a really good, solid morning routine. Nothing's better. And I'm wearing my yellow, if you guys remember this sweater, you'll remember, but I'm wearing this big puffy yellow sleeved sweater. And for some reason, it just makes me happy because of the sleeve design and also because it's yellow. And I just feel like it's kind of fitting because we're talking about morning routines. And in the morning, maybe think of sunshine, whatever. So for gratitude, for some reason, I felt like just whipping out my journal today because I wrote a very clear list today. And one thing that really stuck out to me yesterday during my workout that I felt really thankful for was just my athletic ability. And I don't necessarily mean, I feel like mobility might be a better word, but I literally was just doing warm-up stretches. And I was I love that I'm able to feel mobile, able, capable, athletic, that my body can move in this way because there's plenty of people who just they're not in this position of health to have this free-flowing mobility, whether that being they're too old or they're just unhealthy and they haven't taken care of themselves. And so, they're seeing the negative effects now, all that sort of stuff. I loved feeling my body, I don't know, it just felt like such a privilege yesterday and I felt so free. And that feeling really, comes over me quite often. But yesterday it really hit me again heavy where I was damn, this just feels so liberating. And I just like the thought of being able to use my body to its full ability and maximizing its potential. So I just really liked that. And for some reason I feel like saying another thing. I wrote here my vision, drive, and passion for Livfiit. And I just have been feeling also really thankful lately, specifically of that I have found this passion so early in life. And I don't know, I guess I just have been thinking in general a lot because I've been speaking with my friends about finding your passion and if I feel like every person has a mission in life and stuff, which I haven't fully clearly come to a concrete conclusion with all of this stuff, and maybe one day I'll do an episode on it. But I will say I do think once you put time into something, and a lot of effort and stuff like that, it truly turns into your passion because of just simply how much effort, time, love, and care you've put into something. So it just means more to you now. So it's not as something that's easy to just completely walk away. It becomes a part of you and it becomes something that you're passionate and love doing, I feel like. But regardless of that, I just am so thankful that I have found just this brand and social media, and that I just feel I aligned, you know what I mean? I didn't need to be born in this time period where social media was a thing. So I just feel thankful that I was just came into alignment with this era of social media and content creation and all this stuff because I genuinely really love it. And I'm just thankful that I had this vision when I was younger and took the leap to really pursue it all of these years. And just that I know truly what I love. And I just know that's something that's really special and I really don't ever want to take that for granted. So I'm just really thankful for that. So diving in, I wanted to talk about morning routines, like I said, and I actually got a DM that requested this on my Instagram, which by the way, if you guys ever have any ideas or anything that you specifically want me to talk about in a podcast, please do not be shy or don't hesitate to reach out to me via DM. I'm not the best at responding to DMs, but I do read them. So, because it's just a lot faster for me to be able to read them, digest them, take them into account, as opposed to me responding to every single one. I'm just trying to work on that, but it's also overwhelming to me, but that's another story for a different day. Kind of gives me anxiety because it's think about if you have those people, there's plenty of people who have a ton of unread messages on their phone because they get anxiety texting back to all those people. That's how I feel about it. It's just overall overwhelming to me. But anyways, nevertheless, if you ever have something you want me to talk about on the podcast, just shoot me a DM and I'll definitely take it into account. But this was very funny because I've been wanting to do an episode on morning routines, and then this lovely lady DM'd me and I was it's the perfect sign and confirmation to do so. So she specifically asked for me to talk about what I do in my morning routine and why I do it, which I loved that, just to help she wanted just more guidance and insight and just some more, I guess, tools and resources to figure out how to maneuver this and where to start with her own morning routine and designing one that's fitting for her. So here's my thing on morning routines, because I feel there's a lot of, I don't know, especially with social media and and like the that girl trend and just all this stuff. Like, I think overall, so I'm just saying, like, sometimes on social media, morning routines seem like overwhelming. And I think overall, your morning routine should be something truly that you genuinely look forward to in the day. It should be something that helps you want to get out of bed and makes you like excited to go about your day ahead of you. And it should be something that like sets you up for a successful day, specifically mentally. And I think that's where sometimes it gets lost in translation. Like sometimes people think it needs to be like a 15-step morning routine, where then it turns into like a laundry list or a to-do list in and of itself. So you have like a to-do list before your actual to-do list for the day, and it seems like a chore, and like then it just seems overwhelming and just kind of a lot to try to tackle first thing in the morning. And I don't feel like it should be that way, because to me, I feel like that's very contradictory to what I feel the true intention and purpose is of a morning routine. Like, to me, I feel like a morning routine should definitely be something that's more like free flowing and not as rigid. And I think like, especially now, like we are such busy, like humans, we're such busy people, especially if you're in America. Like we just have that hustle culture, go, go, go. What are you doing next? And like, why is this productive? Why is this benefiting you? Which I feel like, you know, of course there's its own beauty in that, but I also think it's really important to like slow down and like do what we can to just like get in touch and like connect with ourselves without feeling like there always needs to be an end goal all the time for everything, or like have everything be a means to an end. Like we can do things to just like fully enjoy the process and to help us become more present and get in tune with us and just sit with ourselves and spend time with ourselves. And I just don't think like our morning routine needs to be like the prelude to our already rigid day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it needs to be rigid at all. And I think that it should be more free flowing and shift with like truly the wind of our intuition based on what we need that morning, what we need to hear, what we need that's going to help fill up our cup. More something that's like I don't know, I want to say a mutual exchange between ourselves, if that makes sense. And I think the best success of anything, I truly, really believe this with everything in me. I think the best success comes from when we are truly in our natural flow state. And I think our morning routine is a great tool to help us get into that flow state and call us back into our true selves and in our authenticity so that we can truly show up in our best way possible to then, you know, perform our best throughout the day in multiple different facets of life and in all the different tasks that we have to do, whether that's being a good friend, a good daughter, a good coworker, a good employee, whatever the case may be. So here's why I'm so passionate about morning routines, and then I'll get into what I specifically do. So for me, like why I use a morning routine, I guess I should say, I use my morning routine for a lot of different things. I use it for like a lot of different intentions in mind. So like I said, like I don't really want it to be, I don't think every step of your morning routine should be like a means to an end. Like I said, like I think there's a lot of merit to having some components of your morning routine just be you sitting with yourself and allowing yourself to be still in the present moment, because we don't do that enough just in general in our society. But there's also things that I do in my morning routine that are very intentional to have a specific goal with it to help me show up as my best self, like I was saying previously. So usually it's truly the time that I put towards managing my mental health. So that's a huge reason why I use my morning routine. I don't really find myself having this like intentional time to like work on myself as I do when I do it in the morning. Like I don't really find myself doing that at night or anything like that. So that's why I really use my morning routine as a way to manage my mental health. It also allows me to consciously get into alignment with like my higher self and step into the energy that I want to take on the day with, and just overall live more intentionally and more consciously and gain awareness of like me, my emotions, how I'm feeling for the day. Like it's definitely a huge check-in point for me. And I've used this example like in another podcast episode where it's kind of like you need a game plan for your day. Like it's like if you were going to play a sport and there was no group huddle before and you guys just went out on the field and played, like there's going to be no cohesion. There's going to be no intention, no kind of plan of attack, for lack of a better term. Like you kind of, at least I think you need that second to kind of regroup, to check in with one another, figure out what the game plan is, figure out how you want to show up for the day. And that just allows you to have more of an effective, efficient, collected, grounded approach to your day, or in this metaphor, like approach to the game that you are, you know, going on with your teammates and stuff like that, which teammates in this situation is just you and yourself, because you should be always on your own team in life, which is another metaphor for a different day. But that's a really, really big reason why I use it. I just feel like overall it really helps me to live more intentionally, more mindfully, more consciously, and gain more awareness of me, kind of hand in hand with like my mental health. Like it just allows me to check in with myself, because I think so many of us will just live life without even knowing like what's going on in our inside, but yet we're trying to figure out what's going on outside of us, which like kind of is just contradictory even of itself and doesn't make any sense. So I really use it to help to check in with myself. This is also the time where I'll manifest. So I usually manifest a lot in the morning through my morning routine with like speaking things into existence, that sort of thing. And the reason why the morning is so powerful, especially if you're more in that spiritual realm like I am, is because we're still so close to that 5D from just waking up out of sleeping. Same thing goes for right before you go to bed, but for me, I just get really sleepy before I go to bed. So in the morning, I still am close to the cosmos. I'm close to the 5D, kind of closer to the spiritual realm. But I'm more awake and refreshed, and I just feel like I have fresh energy to bring into the day still. And I just feel like it's such a malleable part of our day and such an impressionable time of our day, I should say, where there's so much potential to really shift which direction and which path and which road you're taking for the day ahead. And so just taking, I guess, control and charge and claiming where you want to be heading that early in the day just is really powerful and can truly set you up for so much more success in the day, because you're catching yourself so early on before that snowball accumulates even more and you have more momentum into a direction that you may not have wanted to go in had you have been more intentional if you started your day with making more conscious choices of how you wanted to show up. And kind of like I said previously, another thing I have written here is to help, like I have tweaked the sail to make sure I'm heading in the right direction. Like it just allows me to make sure that I'm managing just like the direction that I want to go in life, like checking in with myself, like, am I acting in alignment with my goals? I think a huge thing to helping with achieving your goals is reminding yourself from them and revisiting them often. So that's what I also really do in my morning routine, is like check in, like, how am I showing up today? How do I feel right now waking up? Is this how I want to carry do I want to carry the same energy with me through the day? Do I need to redirect? Is how I'm feeling right now in alignment with the person I want to be? Is it in alignment with the direction that I want to be going in life, etc.? And so it just allows me to kind of check in and make sure that I'm constantly checking the GPS to make sure I'm going the right direction and living the life that I want to be living. And along with that, it helps me with just managing my emotions, because I feel like when I don't do some sort of morning routine in some way or another, like some sort of mindful, quiet practice with myself, I am so much more touchy throughout the day. I'm less patient. I feel less grounded. I feel a lot more sporadic in my day. I feel like I struggle with a little bit more anxiety or overthinking, and I just am more testy. That's the word I want to use. Like I just do not feel as stable throughout my day when I don't check in with myself and have that game plan beforehand. So I know those are a lot of different reasons, but that's why, like, that in of itself shows how important this morning routine is and how impactful it can be for you in your life, because there truly are so many benefits of it, whether it's conscious, unconscious, intentionally or unintentionally, that come from having that just quiet time in the morning. And just regardless, like, the quiet time and spending time alone and time reflecting is so uncommon in today's society, in today's day and age, and the pace of our society. And factoring that time in one way or another in your morning is something that is just so life-changing, that is so often overlooked. So above anything else, like, I just feel like it's so healthy for everyone to incorporate some sort of quiet time in one way or another. I feel like I'm talking in circles, so I'm just going to go in and share what I do in my morning routine and why I do each thing, to maybe help give you guys some inspo. Feel free to totally steal this or tweak it depending on what resonates with you most. Okay, number one, and the most important thing when it comes to my morning routine, which I feel like everyone should be doing this in one way or another, is no phone. That's step one. I don't plug my phone in. Sometimes I do. Not an accident, but like if I'm on my phone late at night and then I'll just like plug it in right next to me, that never is a good recipe. So I always will try to plug it in like 8 times out of 10. I'm plugging my phone away from my bed so I can't roll over and pick it up in the morning. This is so transformative for me. And I know this doesn't seem like an important step, but if you have not ever tried to stay off your phone in the morning, please take this Livfiit sign here and try it. It is so transformative for multiple reasons. One, I guess physiologically, the last thing you want to do when you're waking up is like first thing is to look at artificial light. That just isn't it. I mean, unless you're waking up like before the sun and you kind of need to turn on a lamp. But for me, I wake up after the sun is up. So the first thing that I do is I stand up, get out of bed and open up my blinds and look outside. Seeing that sunlight, seeing just the light outside in general helps to regulate your circadian rhythm, which is going to help you just have better sleep in general, feel tired when you're supposed to feel tired at night. And it's just really good for your overall physiological health, regulating your mood. That's just really, it's such an important thing in terms of also like primally how we're meant to be living. Like that is just so important to see natural light in the morning. That's the first thing. Second big perk of not going on your phone in the morning is I feel like you need to check in with yourself before you're checking in on everybody else. I'm this way in general. I don't talk to anyone if my family is in town. I don't talk to them when I wake up first thing in the morning. Like I do not speak to anyone. I don't experience other people's energy until I have checked in with myself. That may seem selfish, but I don't think it is at all. I think it's kind of back to that game plan example. I need to check in with Olivia. I need to see how Olivia's doing this morning. I need to see what Olivia needs this morning to feel better if she's not feeling good. I just need to check in with where my cup's at, so I know how to show up for the rest of the day, how much I have to give to others. And if I wake up that morning and I'm like, shit, I don't have a lot to give to others today, it's so important to have that awareness and to know so that I can, perform these next practices in my morning routine to help fill up that cup, or to know where my boundaries are and what my limits are for the day of how much I can give, so I don't feel burnt out. And so I'm not sacrificing my own comfort, my own health for the sake of other people's happiness, comfort, and health, if that makes sense. So it sounds crazy, but like if that same principle applies, if you're going on your phone first thing in the morning and checking in with people on social media, I don't know about you guys. I think I'm just like sensitive to all that stuff. Like I will pick up on their energy. If I see something sad, that's going to make me sad. If I see something happy, that's like, it's just immediately turning to things outside of yourself, when the whole point, especially first thing in the morning, is I just feel like checking internally and seeing how you're doing on the inside is what matters most, so that you don't have any of this bias or pollution of other energy towards your own energetic field. Because it could be something so little, like even if we see something that's happy for someone, but for some reason that triggers something, another negative emotion within us for whatever reason, like now we're taking that on and carry it with us through the day. And I also feel like when I get on my phone first thing in the morning and go on social media, it makes me feel so much more disconnected with myself as well. I feel not only do I tend to take on the energy that I see, but it's too many variables in my face first thing early on, that it kind of like puts a separation between me and my true self, and just like feeling in touch and in tune and in alignment with myself and with my true self. I can go on this for a long time. Just please try to stay off your phone as long as possible. I usually am off my phone for like minimum 30 minutes after I wake up to upwards to like an hour. It really depends on what I'm doing. But that's a really big step for me. I see above anything, I see the biggest difference with that for my day. If I start my day on social media, I also find myself reaching for my phone more often during the day. It just overall distracts me in every sense of the word when I get on my phone first thing in the morning. So I just went off, but if that doesn't convince you enough, just try it for yourself, and then you'll understand why I feel so passionate about that first step. So number 1, no phone. See the sunlight, like I said, open up your blinds if you can. And then from there, I will choose like 1 to 3 different mindful activities that I do in the morning. And this is kind of what I meant when I said I feel like this should be a free-flowing thing. I wasn't expecting me to go off this much in this episode, but I guess I have more to say. But this is what I mean when I feel like it should be more of an intuitive decision for your morning routine, and more of like an intuitive approach and more of a free-flowing thing. I don't do the same exact morning routine every single day. Like I said, I give myself the space to choose between the activities that I know will help fill me up, depending on what I need to hear, what I'm resonating with, and what I personally feel called to pursue. So those activities range from either reading, journaling, meditating, card pulls, and vocal affirmations. So like I said, based off of what I'm feeling and what I feel like I need for the day, that's what I'll choose. And I think because I've said this before, when people ask me how I come up with affirmations, they're like, how do you come up with them? And I say it's usually what I first address like how I'm feeling, and then I kind of work backwards and say, what do I need to hear? So I'll first try to, again, this all comes with practice and gaining self-awareness and emotional intelligence. I will reflect and say, how am I actually feeling? I'll give myself the time to think about that and feel it. And then I think of it as if a friend was telling me that's how they were feeling, what would I tell them to make them feel better? And that's kind of what I do with the same thing with my morning routine. If someone came to me and was like, my friend, and they're like, I feel XYZ, then I kind of would say, okay, this is what I feel like you should do to either heighten these good emotions, help to dismiss these negative emotions. This is what I think you need to hear in your affirmations to help guide you on your path of highest alignment. That sort of thing is kind of the approach that I will take. So firstly, some days I don't feel like I have a lot to say. I don't feel like I have a lot to share. I don't feel like very talkative in my mind. I don't feel like I have a lot of thoughts going on in my head. And I feel like listening that morning. So that will be a day that I would choose to read. And usually I'll read like self-help books, spiritual books, like expanding consciousness books, that sort of thing. And my intention for that, my why for that is to help with my mental expansion and to learn and to elevate my consciousness, like I'm saying, and to help just expand and add value to who I am as a person. I usually read a lot about like how to manage my emotions and that sort of thing. Like it's all things to help gain awareness and live intentionally and more mindfully and just help understand the relationship with myself better. I really truly love reading. I love learning more about myself and how people work and just learning about different perspectives and how to see things from different perspectives, reading about having a more open mind. Like you guys know I'm really passionate about reading because I never was a reader. And now that I've truly gotten into it, like it really has absolutely changed my life. So that's a reason why I would go into reading if I'm not really feeling super talkative. But on the contrary, like I said, another activity that I do is journaling. And this is something that I'll choose to do if I'm feeling really talkative. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's the same thing with when I talk about like the relationship with yourself. It's the same exact thing as if you were to speak about relationships with others, which I feel like is more relatable for a lot of people. It's more tangible examples for people to think about how they would act towards another person as opposed to with themselves. But it's the same thing. Like sometimes I'm feeling talkative in the morning and my mind is racing. I'm talkative with myself. So if that's the case, then I will reach for journaling. And this is something that I'll really do for a lot of different reasons because a lot of also people ask what I journal about. So I'll either write like I'm venting to a friend if I'm feeling frustrated about something or I have a lot going on in my mind. I will just vent like I'm speaking to someone, to a friend. Sometimes I'll document, especially I've been doing that a lot lately if I just more so want to have casual conversation with a friend and just document what's been going on in my life, just like life updates, that sort of thing. I'll also write gratitude lists, which are so powerful. Gratitude has changed my life. Or I'll write down my affirmations. So, or if I have like ideas about things, I'll also just spew those down on paper as well. So it just really depends, but I use journaling for a lot of different reasons. So sometimes I'll use it to manage my emotions, like if I need a vent. Also kind of how I was describing previously in the beginning of the episode, like if I need to kind of reframe my thoughts or refocus my energy or try to elevate my frequency, that's when I'll turn to writing down those affirmations, writing that gratitude list to help kind of just be more intentional with choosing how I want to show up for the day, rewiring my brain processes, thinking like choosing the thoughts that I want to have for the day, getting into a high vibrational frequency, getting into a more positive vibration, getting into a more positive headspace. That's what I'll really use journaling for. And it's so powerful because those days sometimes when you wake up and you feel so negative, like journaling for me and forcing myself to write down positive things, think about things that make me happy, write down things that I'm grateful for. That is what will stop that snowball from rolling down the mountain, stop that momentum, and will switch lanes into the more positive aspect, and I will start to build momentum in that aspect for the day. And that conscious choice and action to rewire and reframe my thoughts is so powerful to get me moving in a more positive direction for the day. And so I love journaling. That was the initial reason why I started journaling, because it also helps me like with positive affirmations about myself. It helped me so much with mitigating negative self-talk for the day. Like starting the day with complimenting myself was absolutely next level and completely changed my inner self-talk, my inner dialogue, and the thoughts that I had about myself going forward for the day. So that's super powerful. Going with that, I will do vocal affirmations, and I've been doing that more so now lately because something about saying it and hearing it and speaking into existence and forcing myself to say it, I just feel like it allows me to be more immersed in the affirmation as opposed to me just jotting it down on paper. Don't get me wrong, writing it down on paper instead of just thinking positive affirmations is so powerful, but even more than that for me is actually like the next step of speaking it out loud. I just feel like I'm then able to embody that affirmation, like I'm forced to embody see it, and it's just really powerful. So I'll use that for the same reasons, like I said previously, like to realign my thinking, set my intention for the day, see how I want to show up energetically and mentally for the day, align my energy, form new, like those more positive habits of thinking and thought patterns and things like that, help with positive self-talk, and then also manifestation. So I'll also write affirmations of things that I'm trying to manifest. So I speak about it as if it's already in existence. So again, lots of reasons why I will use affirmations when I speak them or when I'm writing them down journally. And when I say vocal affirmations, I'm saying them to myself in the mirror. And that's usually what, like, when I'm choosing what to do, if I am doing affirmations for the day, that usually almost always is the very first thing that I'll do. I'll put up my blinds, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, whatever. And then when I come back in before I start my quote unquote morning routine, I'll look myself in the mirror, say all those affirmations, and then I'll come journal and read or whatever else that I wanted to do. So vocal affirmations, super powerful, and they don't take long. They'll take me like maybe 2 minutes, if that. And it's just completely a game changer. Next, 2 things that I'm going to say, and these are kind of the only 2 other things that I would choose. You guys know I'm very spiritual, and even more so this past year, like I want to say I'm more like, I don't know, I've been wanting to use the word faith, and I don't necessarily think like, I don't know, I still struggle to kind of put into words of what I truly believe in, because I grew up very Catholic. I went to a private Catholic school. Like I was actively practiced up until like 10th grade of high school, like as a personal choice. And then kind of from there, I kind of drifted, and then I kind of got more so into spirituality like sophomore year of college. And within this past year, like at that point, it was more personal development. And that's when I would kind of try to do meditation. But then within this past year, something really clicked. I don't know if I went through, I don't know. But I don't know, something happened, and I really feel like just my faith has become so much more clearer and more loud. And I still don't necessarily think that I would say that I want to personify a higher power and feel like there is a man-made human position of God that's above us. But I do 100% believe in a higher meaning, a higher truth, a higher purpose, a higher power, where more so I feel like I believe in just the oneness and the wholeness of like the universe, just in and of itself. I do think there is magic, and there is more than what meets the eye, and there's a lot that lies within the unseen. And so meditation and card pulls, which I'm about to get into, really help me. They're more so my spiritual practices, along with helping me mentally as well. But so I will go into meditation if I feel like I need quiet time, if I need more stillness, if I need reflection, if I am feeling really disconnected with myself. Like I'll do journaling to help with that, but nothing makes me feel more connected to myself than meditation. There's something so powerful, again, because I think we just don't do it a lot, of sitting with yourself. So since it's so rare to sit with yourself and just sit with yourself in silence, it feels really powerful because we're not used to it. You know what I mean? I also really use it if I'm feeling like really disconnected from the universe, from the uni, my faith, my angels, my guides. It's, like I said, more of a spiritual endeavor for me. And also if I'm seeking like a distinct answer to something, yes, I can journal about it. But again, nothing makes me have more clarity on a decision than if I meditate on it and the decision has come to me that way. It feels more of like the truth to me when I meditate. Here's my thing with journaling. Like I feel like journaling helps me kind of get my mind right, sort things out within my mind on the mental level, but meditating I feel like is what gets my soul right. Like it gets me in alignment on the soul level. Like it just cuts so deep for me in the best way. And so that's why I just really love it so much, and it's just so impactful in a different way. And kind of like I already said, like it helps me really connect with God or the universe or in my guides, like I said previously, like because I don't know, I think we truly all are one. We're the universe experiencing itself. And so I do feel like God lies within every single one of us, not that we are more than him or whatever. Like I don't mean that disrespectfully, again, because also I don't feel a need to personify. I just feel like we are truly all one, and we are all equals respectfully. And I don't know, I just there's no doubt, there's nothing that wavers in my mind about the truth of how I feel so much closer to the higher power, to God, to magic, to the universe, as I do when I'm just sitting with myself. And when I come back to myself, that's it. When I come back to myself, that's when I feel the most connected to the universe. And I think there's so much divinity in that, and it speaks for itself right there. Like the proof is in the pudding in terms of when I say like we are the universe experiencing itself, like God is within us. And when I say like it helps me it gives me like specific clarity to find an answer. Like when I will meditate on something, I feel like it gets gets I don't know, I just feel like my ego, my like the doubt, the negative self-talk that kind of will come up in my mind that sometimes happens when I'm journaling doesn't necessarily happen, at least not nearly as often when I meditate. Like that's what I mean when I feel like the meditation is on the soulful level. Like I don't feel like I have the pollution of my human mind when I'm meditating. Like I feel like it's just the truth without the perceptions and the the programming and the domestication and our attachments and stuff that we have that comes through in our mind when we're journaling. I feel like when I meditate, I don't have that. It's just like the unbiased truth that I'm able to look at with clarity. That's another great word. When I meditate, I feel like I have a lot more clarity on a lot of different things in life with myself. I feel like I can feel my own energy and I can feel like the magic that truly lies with each and every one of us. And I just feel like that's the place where I don't need words to communicate, where I feel like you do in journaling. But in meditation, the communication is just with feeling, with intuition, with energy. There's no words that need to be said. When I'm meditating, I'm usually not really thinking about anything. Sometimes I am, but I really find it super powerful when I'm just sitting there in complete stillness and I am consciously making the effort to not have a single thought. And just feeling that. Nothing makes me more present than meditation does. So it is such a grounding practice for me to, again, feel more balanced, grounded, and stable throughout my day. I'm going off about meditation, but it really is truly powerful. And my life has genuinely changed. And once you have like a thorough, actual, genuine meditation, where not just you just sat there and you're like, okay, I did it. Like, did it work? If you have to ask, like, quote unquote, did it work? Like, like you're probably not there yet. And I don't mean that in a degrading way, but I'm just saying you will know. Once you have a truly immersive, deep, meditative experience, you will say, oh, okay. And I feel like it will make you trust so much more in the unseen and that sort of thing, and just give you peace with not being able to describe the undescribable. So then kind of going with that, I will use cards, which is a story for a different day. But when I say cards, there's a lot of different things that I will do. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of tarot cards, which I know is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I really enjoy tarot. I've been learning more about tarot. I've been enjoying reading for people. I will also use affirmation cards, which I post more so on my Instagram account because I feel like that's more like community friendly for everyone. Or I'll use like angel or oracle cards, which are different than tarot cards, but they have other meanings and stand for different things depending on the deck. So cards are a way for me to kind of work my intuition, my intuitive muscle. It's also a way for me to feel more connected with myself and with my intuition, like I'm saying, with kind of my feeling in terms of me being able to pick cards and also me being able to take away the message that I feel in my heart is meant to be given to me from the cards that fell out. It's also, like I said, truly a very big spiritual endeavor for me because I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in angels. I do believe in my guides. So I feel like it is a really big way for me to connect with my guides, with also my higher self, with the universe, with just the energy of things. And I will really use cards, especially if I'm seeking guidance or clarity in some sort of situation, or if, like I'm saying, I just want to feel more connected to my true self, my higher self. I feel like it really allows those two components to come through when I'm trying to decipher the message from the cards, if that makes sense. And I know cards kind of don't make sense for a lot of people because they're just like, people are like, that's just BS. But for me, like, I don't necessarily pick a card. I will shuffle them and then they will fly out depending on what I need to hear and what is given to me through my guides in the universe. And it's kind of hard for me to explain, I guess, the legitimacy of cards, but I don't really feel like there's a need to explain it. Like, people are either going to resonate with it and feel it or you're not. And that's totally okay. And I don't feel a need to try to persuade anyone either which way, but I know what I feel with them and I know that I trust the magic in them. And I guess if I were to describe it to someone who just is confused of how it works just out of pure curiosity, to me, like, everything is energy, right? Like I'm saying, like, every single solitary thing is energy. We're made up of energy. Every exchange, every interaction is energy. The reason why certain things move some way, how we all have like different paths in life and come to cross paths, like all of that is energy. And so that's kind of how I feel like the same thing with cards. Like, if you were to meet someone or something were to happen, your flight gets canceled, like, there are no coincidences in life. And so that's kind of how I feel with the cards. Like, the energy is what's going to be pulling certain cards out depending on what frequency I'm operating at and what message is aligning with the frequency. Excuse me. What message is, I'm choking. Okay, I'm choking on something for some reason. But anyways, what messages are aligning with the energy that I'm operating at for that day? And that's what's going to pull those cards out completely by chance of whatever flies out of the deck. So that's kind of how, if I were to speak about the legitimacy of them, if you will, or how they work. But I truly love cards more than anything. They're just really fun for me as well. I like kind of holding on to that like youthful, imaginative nature. And I feel like cards are a way for me to do that, and just for me to trust in the unseen and trust in the magic of things. So I love cards. If you're interested, I do have, also I forgot to this because also I talked about books. Both of the, like all of the cards that I use and all of the books that I really love and read that have changed my life are all linked in my Amazon storefront, which will be linked in the show notes if you're interested in trying any of those out. But that is pretty much the extent of my morning routine. I personally like to do things that call me to reflect, to come back to myself. I like quiet, slow mornings. Now, maybe you guys listened to that whole entire thing, which if you did, thank you. But maybe you listened to the whole thing and you're like, I don't know, that doesn't really sound like something I would really enjoy, or I feel like would charge me up or like fill up my cup. That's totally fine. There's plenty of other meditative, mindful practices that you can do that you may resonate more with and may match the tempo that you like to start your day at. So if you're not like me and you're someone who likes to have like a go get 'em morning, you like to go do something, be active in the day, in the morning, that's totally fine. Maybe for you that involves going for a meditative walk or a mindful walk. Maybe you're listening to some, meditation music or slow music to help facilitate some thought processes for you to think about how you're feeling, just get in touch with yourself. Maybe you want to go exercise fully at the gym because that's a meditative, mindful thing for you that gets you connected to your body. Maybe you want to listen to just some other music that helps to raise your vibrational frequency. Maybe you like to clean in the morning. Cleaning and like cooking, I feel like are such underrated mindful practices, especially if you do it in the way where you're really intentional and mindful with the whole actual process of doing it. It can be so meditative. So sometimes I'll do that in the morning. If my room is untidy, I'll tidy it up in the morning as kind of part of my morning routine to give me some clarity and stuff like that. So there's different things that you could do 100% that's going to fill up your cup. So try different things. It took me a bit to kind of formulate these activities that I really truly love. So don't feel like you need to copy me, of course. Never feel that way about anything that I'm going to be talking about on here or any of my other channels. But I do just want this episode more than anything to invite you and to encourage you to figure out some sort of outline or a guide. That's a good word, a guide for you to kind of be able to take on your mornings with more intentional, set you up for a good day, allow you to get in touch with yourself, connect to you, so then you can show up just more wholeheartedly, more grounded, and with more intention going about your day, and set you up for more success, for better productivity. Because the best thing, the secret to productivity above anything, other hacks that you listen to on other self-development podcasts or whatever, is getting into a prosperous, happy state of mind and a state of being. And that's where everything else flows effortlessly. That's where the productivity, the efficiency flows effortlessly. So step one starts with you. It always starts with you, and checking in with yourself and making sure that you are ready to go and you're at your optimal state to have the optimal day ahead. So for the affirmation for this episode, it says, I'm intentional with what I say, what I do, and what I think. This is brand new. I just came up with this today. I've never said this one before. I am intentional with what I say, what I do, and what I think. Repeat that one to yourself this week. Hopefully that will allow you guys just to remind you to just overall be more intentional with everything or every aspect of you, because I feel like not a lot of people are in today's day and age, but intention is so powerful and intention truly is everything. So I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this gave you guys some more insight if you were needing it or wanting it. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching or listening, depending on where you're consuming this. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.